According to Israeli officials, Israel has submitted the final proposal to Hamas for a deal for ceasefire on the Gaza Strip and release of hostages held by terrorists. This comes as negotiators are racing against time to secure a deal before U.S. President Joe Biden leaves office and President-elect Donald Trump assumes office on January 20th. While the Biden administration claims talks have progressed after Biden spoke to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who stressed on the immediate need of reaching a deal, and outgoing NSA Jake Sullivan said the deal was very, very close and yet far. However, U.S. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance has in fact said a deal between Israel and Hamas could soon be reached, and the reason for the progress is because people are terrified that there are going to be consequences for Hamas. It seems both administrations are fighting to claim credit and racing against time to seal the much-awaited truce deal in the over year-long war between Israel and Hamas. All right, just to get more sense on how this is going to play out, let me bring in at this moment Dr. Shudha Chaudhary, founder of Middle East Insights platform. We also has Amy Turkanian, Republic strategist. Spencer Crishley is a Democrat strategist. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us at this moment. Is this, let me ask you, Spencer, and begin by asking you, is this the big legacy point that Joe Biden wants to leave before he in fact demits office, something that he can look back and say, well, it was one of the high points of his office?
Yes, I think so. Certainly he has other high points to point to, but this is one obviously that he's been working on certainly since October 7th, 2023, but of course American administrations have been working on for decades. And I'm sure that the Biden administration would dearly love to get this wrapped up before President Biden leaves office.
Can I then ask you a corresponding question before I go to my other guests? A lot of people are calling it this desperation, in fact, to seal the deal a little too late. Many lives have been lost. Is it just, as you also pointed out, something that he wants to leave as a legacy, but it is in comparison or a competition with Donald Trump, something that he doesn't want the opportunity to go to the president-elect? Should this not have come earlier?
Oh, I think it has come earlier. Now, of course, we can debate about how successful it's been, but it's clear that the United States, under the Biden administration, as I would hope under any administration, has been focused on this since October 7th and has devoted enormous resources to it. The comments by incoming Vice President J.D. Vance and incoming President Trump are extremely disappointing, but also completely unsurprising. It would be such a welcome relief if they could take a breath and think about what's at stake in a situation like this. The point is to stop terrible suffering and death. And they seem completely unable to address anything except as what they see as some kind of opportunity for selfish political advantage. We see the same thing in the Los Angeles fires. Instead of offering any words of comfort or pledges of support, they're busy trying to score political points while people flee their homes and people die. Unfortunately, this is all too typical. And I would say the Biden administration is acting in contrast, as if there were responsible adults involved in this.
Turkanian, let me get a response from you to what the panelists from the Democratic side, the strategists there, is saying. I mean, they believe that your time will come. President-elect is yet to become the president. He will have a host of problems to sort out globally. Your time will come. Why take credit for something which the Biden administration at this moment is trying to achieve?
Well, I think in politics, it's pretty normal, unfortunately, to want to take the win when things are going well, and then take the blame and put the blame on others when things aren't going so well. So instead of these two administrations patting each other on the back and saying, hey, here's what we've done so far, take it over, do a great job from here on out. We also saw Prime Minister Netanyahu put out appreciation to both President Biden and incoming President Trump. So it's not just a one-sided effort. This is something that's been going on for a very long time. This is not an easy negotiation. This isn't something that you can just, snap your fingers and make a few phone calls and everything will be rainbows and butterflies. This is something that's very difficult. And so I really think that the two should shake hands, pass the baton, and continue with the efforts to save the human lives that are all at risk still.
Yeah, but there is still some time before Donald Trump takes over. And if in between the Biden administration does successfully achieve this truce deal, the entire credit will go to the Biden administration. Is that a worry, a PR worry as far as the incoming president is concerned?
No, I don't think so. I think the fact that he's already put it out there, and he's put it out there now not once, but several times, that if the hostages are not returned by the time he has inauguration day, that all hell will break loose. And those are his words. And so I think that incongruent with what President Biden has already been working on behind the scenes, I think the fact that you do have an incoming administration that's going to be extremely aggressive in all aspects, in many aspects, not just here. I think it's something that does put other world leaders on their toes, keeps them on their feet, keeps them guessing. You saw where Russian President Putin had actually said that Biden was somebody who, was easy to read, and President Trump is not that person. And so, I think that's going to actually benefit the incoming administration with that behavior.
All right, Dr. Chaudhary, let me get you in at this moment. What does this deal mean for, a battered Gaza? It's been more than 1 year. And like Jake Sullivan said, it is very, very close, but yet so far. So what are the hiccups before this deal can be signed?
First of all, thank you for calling me. And before I start, I would like to give my condolence to the two panelists who are there with me regarding the Los Angeles fires. The second thing is that I would try to play the devil's advocate and tell you the misrepresented story that has happened, which is the American economist Jeffrey Sachs basically did an interview quoting directly against Netanyahu and stating that how Netanyahu has been very difficult for US and bringing US to many wars. Trump retweeted that on Truth Social, and then it galvanized. Due to which now Netanyahu is not going to attend Trump's inauguration on 20th, though he can later say that it's his prostate cancer recovery. Nevertheless, what is happening in Israel is also very interesting. In Israel right now, for the past couple of days, there have been incessant protests by the families of hostages. Smotrich, who is the finance minister, has been criticized verbally, and the protesters have also been beaten up. There's massive media censorship, and the condition of the hostage families who are very innocent in Israel is deplorable. At the same time, what Netanyahu is now hoping for is because they have a budget approval going on in Israel right now, and the two ministers of national security, Ben-Gvir, and finance minister Smotrich, who are completely against, because this is not a ceasefire deal, it is not a truce, it is just a hostage negotiation. There'll be 45 people have been killed in Gaza today, 20 raids today. So now what is happening is that Netanyahu and his coalition, because he's also scared that his coalition might fall apart, he is thinking that if both Smotrich and Ben-Gvir come together and do not criticize this deal, whatever they call it, then Trump, when he comes to office, will be much more sympathetic to them regarding the annexation of West Bank. So they have to play their cards right.
No, but
that is what is happening.
Okay, can I ask you then, that do you see this, whatever this war of words which is going on in United States between both the administration, the incumbent one and the incoming one, as some sort of a problem, a hitch as far as the deal is concerned, or any deal is concerned?
Not exactly, because to my knowledge and my consideration, most of it is not under the direct control of Republicans or Democrats, but by the IPAC lobby. For example, J.D. Vance, who is the first millennial vice president of US, who would be coming from my generation. He has been given around $167,324 by the IPAC lobby, as tracked by it. Along with it, the entire fiasco, like where is Dr. Hussam Abu Safia? Where is, for example, will they release Marwan Barghouti, the
Right.
Palestinian leader?
Right.
So there are many questions. What is happening in Gaza right now? What will happen in West Bank right now? Will Israel-Saudi negotiation take place? There are so many. It is a Pandora's box.
Right.
And as I said,
I
I'm
think
just playing the devil's advocate.
precisely why Jake Sullivan said that it is so near yet so far. But is that a worry, Spencer, that the Israeli side, especially Prime Minister Netanyahu, would want to prolong this deal? Possibly, he thinks that he has better relationship with Donald Trump, and when Donald Trump is in office, he would find it easier to deal with the incoming president. Is that a worry for the Biden administration?
Oh, I would think so. Of course, there's a long relationship of closeness between Netanyahu and Trump, who in many ways are similar figures, often for the worse in terms of domestic and international affairs, and a much less close relationship between Netanyahu and Biden, or Democrats in general. Before I go any further, I'm sure it was unintentional, but the suggestion that the Jewish American lobbying organization AIPAC is controlling administration policy is only about 6 inches away from outright anti-Semitism. And I hope that there's no intention of that in that kind of comment. It's certainly not true that lobbying group or any lobbying group is controlling American policy, and to suggest otherwise is at best conspiracy thinking.
All right, Dr. Chaudhary, would you like to respond to what Spencer was saying? I mean, specifically when you were speaking about it.
So the direct or indirect actions of deep state lobby groups or the funding, it's never confirmed or denied, actually. And it's not just about US, it's all over the world.
No, well, these theories are never falsifiable. This is the classic feature of a conspiracy theory. It's impossible to falsify. So that if we claim that the Jews are behind everything that happens, it's impossible to falsify that, because the response can always be, well, the Jews are experts at covering their tracks, so you would never know that. And in fact, that's proof of our conspiracy theory. And you can make up that kind of conspiracy theory about anybody. And as has often been observed, it might be the Jews today, but it could easily be your group tomorrow.
Absolutely. And at least what we'll try and do, we'll try and keep the focus on the matter at hand, at least, here on this channel. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us. It's a very important deal. It should have happened possibly earlier, which could have saved many, many lives, whether it's the Biden administration or the Trump people in both sides of that line, in Gaza and also in Israel. People, those whose family members are hostages, they would be waiting anxiously for some sort of movement forward. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this discussion.